Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Res. In this video, I'm excited to finally say I'm going to be going over the shotgun Clawbringer build that I've been teasing for what seems like a couple days now for you guys. You've seen a lot of gameplay of it in my most recent videos, and I cannot wait to deep dive into everything you need to know about this build because it is insane. The interactions between all the skills and gear is crazy fun, and it is a deathless build. I know there is not probably one deathless build out right now at all. I think this literally might be the first one, and it lives up to the hype. You are extremely tanky. The survivability is insane. The damage output's insane. And if your favorite playstyle is to run and gun, especially with shotguns, this is 100% the build for you. It also does take advantage of Clawbringer, which I know is right now the weakest class in the game, and I am multi-classing it with something like the spell shot to get some crazy shield benefits that I also don't see a lot of people using right now. And I'm going to be taking advantage of everything, and this build literally has it all. As always, this build alongside all my other builds I posted are located in my Discord channel if you guys would like to download them. Link to the Discord is in the description. If you download the build, enjoy the video, find it helpful in any way, consider subscribing and dropping a like. I'm on the road to 15,000 subs, and I would love to have you all on this journey. I truly appreciate it. But all right, starting off with the build, we're going to be kind of going back and forth a little bit because you have to kind of understand everything and how everything synergizes for this build to work properly. So the main thing is, like I already said, we are running a deathless armor piece. This is going to reserve all health but one, returning 150% as war capacity, and your war regeneration delay is reduced by 50%. That doesn't matter. You're not even going to have war regeneration delay at all, but you do have 150% more shield, which is very, very good. Now, I want to say really quick, this build is not completely finished. It still has room to improve, and the main thing to improve is this class mod. Now, I do have another deathless armor piece over here. This one is granting spell shot power. The other stuff is literally pointless on it. It doesn't do anything, but spell shot power is very good because you're getting your spell damage up, which is in return going to give you more gun damage. Now, this one right here is giving you Clawbringer power, but it's actually giving you Clawbringer skills, which is really good. Now, there is one other class mod out there that will greatly improve this build, and I've been farming for it for days, and I just have not gotten it yet. And that is a class mod that's going to grant you spell shot and Clawbringer power, and obviously you want it to be deathless. But it is also going to grant you the skill Mage Armor. Mage Armor is a skill when you gain a stack of spell weaving, your ward is restored. So at base, it's 10%, which is still very good. But if you have a point in here, that's going to bump it to 20% ward regeneration every time you gain a stack of spell weaving. So essentially every time you reload, because when you reload, you gain a stack of spell weaving, you're getting 20% of your shield back or ward back. Now, I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but once you have 150% extra increase, as you see, we have 24,000 shields right now. That 20% shield that you're going to be getting back is like close to 5,000 shield per reload. And if you have a gun that reloads very quick, you can kind of see you're going to be invincible because that ward is just going to be 5,000, 10,000, 15,000. You get a bunch of ward back. Even with 1 point, just with 10%, you're still getting an insane amount of ward back. But if you do have that class mod or armor piece I'm talking about, it will greatly improve this build, not only for damage because of spell shot power, but also because of survivability, because it does grant a point in mage armor. But even without that, just having a normal deathless mod still makes this build very, very good. And I feel like that should show how crazy this build actually is. Now, keep it on the topic of deathless, let's talk about our shield. I am going to be running the Shamway, or basically the new Sham shield that's in the game. This is going to give you an 80% chance to absorb bullets as ammo. This is very, very good for a couple different reasons. Now, one reason, obviously, it's very good for survivability, but you can also run something like this level 13 shotgun right here. And what this can do is you can shoot it on the ground with sticky mode, and this is basically going to give you infinite ammo. You're going to constantly regenerate ammo because they all explode. And since you have an 80% chance to absorb and it's such a low level, you don't die. And this basically gives all your guns infinite ammo. So if you need ammo for, say, something like a liquid cooling right here, you can just do that to get ammo. Now, another thing you can do is actually run a rocket launcher with stickies on here. And you can kind of basically shoot it on the ground. We'll swap over to the sticky right here really quick. You can shoot these on the ground and now swap over to the rocket, and your rocket essentially has infinite ammo. And then once they all end, your rockets explode like crazy. Now, I have an anoint on this one where you gain bonus fire damage when you activate your axe skill. So what you can do is when you're shooting all your stickies, just throw your action skill out, and now you're going to get bonus fire damage, which is very, very good. But getting back to the shield, talking about the enchant on it, it has, while health is below 50%, you generate 5% maximum health per second and gain 30% damage dealt. Well, you're never going to regenerate health because of Deathless, but that 30% damage dealt is actually active. It works on everything that you have. It is crazy, crazy good. Most anointings obviously require you to cast something, a spell or an action skill to get this damage bonus. This is just active 100% of the time because you're always below that threshold. And 30% increased damage on everything is crazy strong. So between these two pieces of gear right here, you're having a crazy high capacity sham shield that's basically giving you infinite ammo. It's giving you extra damage because of the anoint, and you are gonna constantly be able to regenerate it because of things like mage armor, and you just always have this up. Your survivability is insane. Now, to also increase the survivability, we're also gonna be running the frying pan. When this is equipped, you have a 15% chance to reflect incoming bullets when it's holstered. Now, if you go up a melee enemy, you have a 90% chance, but the main thing is you're getting that passive 15% chance to reflect bullets. So now you have a 15% chance to reflect bullets. You have a 80% chance to just absorb the bullets. So that is a 95% chance if someone's shooting at you, you're just not taking damage, which is very, very good, or you're taking very little damage at that. But on top of that, you're also regenerating a lot of ammo. So now that you kind of have an understanding of the survivability of this build and how crazy it can be, plus additional damage, we can start talking about our rings. So I have, while water is full, your effects are increased by 100%. And then I have, while health is less than 50%, effects are increased by 50%. I would definitely recommend getting double of these rings if you can, and always go for gun damage. When your ward is full, it's really good because obviously when you're, reloading constantly, your ward's always going to be full with mage armor. You're getting that bonus gun damage. But also, at all times, you're getting this bonus damage as well because your health's always below 50%. This is just a nice passive. It's literally going to be active 100% of the time, so I would recommend getting 2 of these, like I said. But having something like this is also not that terrible, and be sure to look out for shotgun buffs on them if you can get them. Now, for my amulet, I'm going to be running a Infused Harbinger. This is actually going to make your shield regenerate or ward regenerate. Every time you throw your action skill, you get 50% of your ward over 2 seconds. So now, not only can you have your reload give you ward, when you throw your action skill, you're also going to be getting 50% of your ward back over 2 seconds. And obviously, when you have 24,000 ward, that 50% ward regeneration is insane. You're literally getting like 12,000 shields back over 2 seconds on top of your mage armor. And you just have so much shield, is ridiculous. Now, this one is giving you frost damage and spell shot power, which is pretty good. Having maybe fire damage is probably a little bit better, but frost damage is still very good for something like the liquid cooling. And then finally, for the spell, I'm just running a Buffmeister. No spells really doing anything for you, but the Buffmeister does help you a lot out in bossing, which is very, very good. If you don't want to use this, you don't have to. The build's still very good without it, but there's really no reason to not use it. And this one does have 2 charges, so you can have a huge uptime on this damage. Now that all the gear is talked about and you kind of understand the synergy behind everything that's going on, we can just start talking about the weapons, because these also do synergize. Obviously, liquid cooling is one of the best bossing weapons in the game, but you have on action skill start, you gain increased fire damage. So if you just saw me use it, my action skill is just going to be the hammer. The reason I'm using this is just so I can throw it and take it back really quick, and the cooldown is going to be back pretty much instantly. As you see, we're already back at 3 seconds cooldown. And these anoints are actually kind of bugged in the game right now to where they last longer, and they basically just make it an action skill start anoint. But this is very good, but even if you don't want to use this, have an anoint like on action skill start right here. You gain 20% increased damage dealt, which is very good. On my spell I have on action skill start, you gain increased gun damage by 40%. So as you see, we're going to have infinite uptime on these 2 anoints, which is crazy, crazy strong because of just being able to spam our action skill over and over again. And if you remember, we're also getting ward regeneration back every time we spam that action skill as well. So your survivability is just going to be ridiculously strong on top of buffing all your damage all the time. Now, I'm also going to be running crossblade. This is the main weapon in this build. It synergizes extremely well, which I will get into when we talk more about the skills. But this basically is going to shoot out 2 little, elemental beams. One is doing shock, one is doing fire, that can actually roll in different elements. But for this build, you need to get a shock and fire one, because it is going to synergize with one of your skills extremely, extremely well. And that skill is the all skill. So every time you do fire damage, you're getting more critical hit damage. And every time you do lightning damage, you're getting more critical hit chance. So since your gun is doing both of those, you're always going to be having all procced. and you're just getting this shotgun to do even more damage, which is crazy, crazy good. Now, also having an enchant when your axe skill is active, you get 35% increased elemental damage. Again, having elemental damage increase is very good since this is doing 2 elements. Now, for other weapons, I just kind of have some fun items. The Binding Face's Soul is actually pretty good because if you don't know what this legendary does, when you throw it, it's going to track an enemy, and when that tracked gun hits enemy, you actually generate ward. So now when you reload your gun, you're getting reward from mage armor, and when it hits the target, you're getting a ward because it, you know, of the legendary effect. Very cool. Now, also have a gluttony right here. This is going to make it so when you throw your gun, you basically create this like tornado of blades that can do some pretty good damage, honestly. And the way it works though is it's actually going to drain your health to like 50%. It hurts you when you reload the gun, but if you have 1 health, it's never going to hurt you, and you always get that increased damage from the legendary effect. And you can do some really, really cool things with this. Now, other weapons are things like the Red Hellion, Rain of Arrows. I actually have a COV Rogue Imp, I think this is the name of it. They're all very, very good because of the most recent damage increases. But that is pretty much it for the weapons. One of the most fun little gimmicky ones is the Binding Face's Soul because you get that war regeneration when it hits an enemy on top of reloading it. But I think that is all for the gear. I know the video is already extremely long, and that's just for the gear, but that's just how crazy everything synergizes. But getting into these skills, we've already extensively talked about mage armor, but another thing to benefit mage armor is glass cannon. So this is giving you more spell damage, but your ward no longer regenerates. Now, you might be thinking if this is a shield-based build, that's kind of bad, but you're getting more spell damage, which is very, very good for your damage in general, and you don't even need to worry about ward regeneration delay because of mage armor, because of Binding Face's Soul, because of your amulet. You're always going to have your shield up 24/7. And at this point, you've probably seen gameplay of me just tanking the raid boss and not dying. Literally, it is crazy, crazy strong. But that is just for survivability. If we get into damage, we're obviously going to be taking 3 points in magic bullets, so we can convert 45% of our spell damage to gun damage. We're going to be having so much spell damage with this build. That is in return going to give you an insane amount of gun damage. Now, Prestidigitation is also a must because this is going to give you 40% more reload speed at 5 points. This is very, very good for proccing things like mage armor and just reloading your weapons in general. And again, if you haven't seen so far, with this gun, you're going to constantly have, you know, a ton of damage going off. You're going to be one-shotting everything, and you're going to be keeping mage armor up. Now, also, they can just warm it up. So every stack of spell weaving you get 4% more fire rate. This is very good, you know, if you want to use the liquid cooling in a boss fight, because having more fire rate on the liquid cooling is just ridiculous. Then I have 1 point in hot thread count. So we get an additional 3 stacks of spell weaving. Obviously, having spell weaving stacks is giving you more spell damage, which is in return giving you more gun damage. You can have 8 stacks now instead of 5, which is insanely strong. Now, also have 4 points in imbued weapons. So whenever I cast a spell, you get 8% bonus damage, whatever element the spell is. This is really good paired with the Buffmeister, since the Buffmeister kind of already does what this skill does. But I'm also mainly just using this to get down to 1 slot, 1 kill. So I get 4% gun damage per stack of spell weaving. So you can have 8 stacks of spell weaving. This is giving you 4% more gun damage per stack. So that's 32% increased gun damage at all times because of this skill right here. It is crazy, crazy strong. Now, if we get over into the Clawbringer, you see it is a 50-50 split. We're going to be taking Oath of Fire. So this is giving you bonus fire damage to all your gun damage. I am getting it buffed by 8 points because of my class mod. Again, I would still recommend getting the other class mod, but this is still very strong because of the bonus fire damage. It's normally at 20%, but this is giving you 32%, which is still very, very good. Now, I'm also taking 5 points of Radiant, so we get 30% more ward capacity. Again, we want to have as much ward as possible with this build for survivability. Then we also have Dragon Ore, so we're basically going to have an ore around us. It's giving you 20% more elemental damage. Since we're doing Shock, Incinerate, and occasionally Dark Magic because of our Buffmeister, you're getting a huge increase to your elemental damage with all those elements. And with something like your Enchant, when you activate your axe skill, you get even more elemental damage. They just pair extremely well. I also have 3 points of Rebuke because I need to get down towards the bottom, but this is giving you a little bit of damage reduction. And when you take damage, you're dealing lightning damage, which is very good because it's going to help proc Awe if you want to use a different weapon, something like, you know, the liquid cooling at all times. You're still going to have your lightning damage proc and your incinerate damage proc at all times, which is very, very good. I am getting 1 point in Blasphemy's Favor. This is not really even doing anything. It's just for my class mod. I would not recommend spending a point in this, but I am getting 1 point in Firebolt to get more gun damage. This is bugged right now on the screen. I think it actually still gives you the gun damage bonus. It is just a visual bug, but this will give you just an extra 8% gun damage, which is nice. Plus, it lets your Wyvern do some crazy things for fire damage. Then also, I'm taking Storm Breath. This is giving you 12% damage reduction. Again, it lets your Wyvern do some crazy things with lightning damage, and your Wyvern will occasionally get kills, which is pretty cool, but it is not like the main part of this build. The main thing is it's just a solid 12% damage reduction and a solid 8% gun damage. And then finally, obviously, we've already talked about all. When you do fire damage, you get crit damage. When you do lightning damage, you get crit chance. So lightning damage all the time because of Rebuke. Incinerate damage all the time because of Oath of Fire. Both of those all the time because of this fire and lightning crossblade. On top of the buff it got, it one-shots literally everything in the game. You have infinite survivability because of mage armor, because of Harbinger, because of the Deathless giving you an insane amount of shield, because of the Sham absorbing pretty much every bullet that shot at you, because of the fire pan reflecting a couple of bullets that shot at you. You're getting a bunch of damage bonuses because of Deathless and this anoint right here, because of your action skill anoints where you get more damage, and you have infinite action skills because you can constantly just, you know, keep getting it back and forth. You have Buffmeister for any harder fight that you need to do, even though you don't really ever even have to use it. You have your rings giving you bonus damage, and I would still recommend getting some better rings. Having double of these would still be very good. And that is pretty much the build. I know that's a lot and how everything can synergize, but even in the gameplay you already see, this build is already ridiculously strong. And again, you still have room for improvement. Obviously, getting everything volatile, getting a better class mod, getting better rings, you're going to just make this build even stronger. It is ridiculously fun. I've been wanting to make a shotgun build since this game came out. Shotguns just weren't the greatest, and again, I have been making this build before these shotgun buffs came out, and I'd already planned on making the build video. But now that the shotgun buffs are out, I knew it couldn't wait. Even though I don't have all the perfect gear quite yet, I'm still farming for it. But I do think this is the best build I've made so far in Wonderlands. It is extremely unique. It actually takes advantage of Clawbringer, which is one of the weakest classes in the game. Now, you can play this build with other characters like the Berserker and the Spore Warden. I would definitely recommend the Spell Shot if you're trying to go the survivability route, because you need to take things like Mage Armor to get that shield back when you reload. Plus, having all the spell even stacks, it just synergizes extremely well with everything. You're doing so much elemental damage. It is so fun, and I would 100% recommend all of you guys giving this build a try. And if you want to, again, my builds are always located in my Discord channel, and the link to the Discord is in the description. If you play this build, let me know how much you like it. Let me know if you changed anything around. And also, if you have any of the gear and you want to trade anything with other people, be sure to join the Discord as well, not only for the save file. We have our active community in there that's chatting, always learning about builds, trading gear, and I would love to have you guys in there. But I think that's going to do it all for me. This was a very long video. I'm for sure going to have to get some water after recording all this. If you did make it all the way through, be sure to just comment I made it with a smiley face. I would truly appreciate it. Also, if you did make it this far, I would assume you're probably already subscribed, but if you're not, one last time, just consider subscribing. It really helps me out and our community grow, and I truly appreciate it. But anyway, that's going to do all for me. This is probably the most ambitious build I've ever created. I really hope all you guys enjoy it. But thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.